Yeah, Cheryl, you're a certified yoga for the special child instructor. So what is yoga for the special child?
So the reason I think, and there's a bunch of us OTs running around doing it now at this point, I think why we gravitate toward it is it breaks things down in a developmental level. So you need to be able to do this before you can do this. And whether it's singing a mantra, whether it's a yoga pose, whether it's just kind of laying those foundational skills. For example, say a child never crawled. Not sometimes it's not the end of the world, but for some of ours, they don't learn reciprocal movement patterns, meaning the leg and the arm are doing the opposite leg and opposite arm kind of swing naturally as you walk.
Mm-hmm.
So their walking may look a little funny. They might be a little bit more clumsy. If you ask them to cross midline, sometimes they can't do that. And think of everything that you do, to cross the center of your body every day.
Mm-hmm.
And so I personally think that's why a lot of us have gravitated toward it, because it's a great foundation to then move forward, and it pinpoints some specific neurological processes that I always evaluate for. At this point, I found a tool that kind of mirrors what I'm doing, and so I'm looking at, can they attend, can they visually track, can they stand on one foot? Some of it does look kind of funny. It looks kind of like a sobriety check, and parents are kind of looking at me like, what are you doing? Being able to walk on a straight line, heel to toe, without losing your balance. The call and response is also on there. So looking for those specific things to then be able to do something else. So skipping is on there. Do I really care about the art of skipping? Not necessarily, but I'm looking more, can their whole body do something at the same time?
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, you and I are sitting, we're having a conversation. I'm able to stay upright and stay attending to what we're doing. Imagine some of the students you work with, they can't do that yet.
Right.
Right? And putting it into whatever social, because I know this is global, putting it into whatever social context it applies to.
Mm-hmm.
And this seems to be it doesn't matter where I am, it doesn't matter where I go. During my travel therapy days, I got to try it out on somebody else's dime in a variety of different settings, and the same things kept occurring. We were able to see a lot of progress and give them some coping strategies and some tools that didn't require any equipment. I mean, you saw my office, there was nothing in it.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's like, where's the swing? And I'm like, yeah, no, I can teach them how to do that with their body and get the same input without it. There's nothing wrong with the swings. The swings are a great, powerful tool, but if you teach them that that's the only way they can get their vestibular input, and there's no swing or no car ride or motor vehicle of choice, depending on where you are in the world, that's going to be an issue. So how can we break down all those barriers and say, okay, this is how you move your body to get that same sensation?
Mm-hmm. That is super cool. I'm a big fan of yoga. I try to do it regularly. I've been having a hard time getting back into it recently, but I can definitely attest to the positive effects just on mood and sleep also. I think I've noticed that when I don't do yoga regularly, maybe either I'll have a hard time falling asleep, like getting myself to the bed, or maybe maybe I'll have some breathing issues during my sleep, because I also have mild form of apnea. So I think yoga can just help all around, and I can imagine how beneficial it could be for someone on the spectrum.
And making sure that it's presented in a classical manner. I know there's a couple, I don't know all the other children's yoga programs. There are several that will, as you get into a pose may have a song, like you get into boat and they sing row, row, row your boat, which is great for the neurotypicals. But if we're going to teach a kid on the spectrum, that's what yoga looks like, we're going to have a problem when they get older and now it's not accessible to them, whether it's their PE class, whether it's out in the community. Because if you were to take somebody to a traditional yoga class in a yoga studio and they all of a sudden belt it out with a child song because somebody taught them that that's what yoga is, there's going to be a problem. And we want them included. We want them in the community. We want inclusion and acceptance. That's just putting a barrier. And I know there's a couple of different programs out there. This one is very traditional as far as yoga traditions go, as far as having the singing and the certain breathing exercises and the eye exercises. And there's a bunch of things that are included, but they cut very traditional, so that if any of my students wanted to go out and access their community, they could. And that's kind of how I look at it. So the ones that do come to my office, we work on having to come in quietly and taking off your shoes and signing in and sitting down quietly and things that are going to prepare them. So it doesn't matter if they go to yoga or Tai Chi or anywhere out in the community. Some of those steps are still the same as far as signing in and, not necessarily being quiet, but knowing when to be quiet and when you can talk and things like that. So there's a social component behind it too. So it's not just this, I think, especially here in the West, has this like, yoga is this like super elite, you have to have the right leggings and all of this. Like I just wrote an article about why you don't need a yoga mat to actually practice yoga. So there's more to it than the actual practice, I guess. You're teaching more skills.
Yeah. You've been watching Autism Knows No Borders. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. Also, we'd love to hear from you, so let us know what you think in the comments section. Click here to watch this interview in its entirety. You can also find us on your favorite podcast app. Tune in each week for engaging conversations of how people across the globe are inspiring change and building community. Thanks for watching. Take care.